The villains are getting warmed up already in the chat. I love it. You like that?
Maneuvering some stuff back here. Let's go, guys. You've earned it.
You like it?
It doesn't matter how you're doing.
Shit, I forgot to play Schefter. You can allude to it later. I'll play it whenever you want it, Mike.
Team beats them. First and goal, Montgomery breaks a tackle, turning for the end zone, and a Lions touchdown. On first down, Jahmyr Gibbs with an opening, and Gibbs with great speed down the sideline. Jahmyr Gibbs, one man to beat, he'll beat him. Touchdown.
Yeah, look at that. Look how beautiful that is, our new intro and our new intro music by the band The 99. Thank you to everyone involved in that. Welcome to the program, everyone. It is the Main Event Football Show right here on the Villain Squad Network. I'm your host, Main Event Mike. Today, we are going to talk about that glorious victory in the Lambeau litter box, also known as Ford Field West, also known as the Crying Cheeseheads home. We went in and dominated, and we are going to talk about it and relish in it. We're also going to look ahead to the Lions' next opponent, and that is the Houston Texans on the road. Going to be a tough one. And we are going to talk about a lot of the issues swirling around the Detroit Lions after yesterday's win, post-game, during the game, trade rumors, a lot to get to today. So let's take care of business and let's pay the bills. We are broadcasting live on the Villain Squad Network, and that means into Facebook. At the page Lions Villain Squad. Please go over and follow the page. We are well over 56,000, about to hit 57,000 followers. We thank each and every one of you for that. We're also broadcasting live into Detroit Lions News Podcast Facebook page. Big thanks to Joe Chapp and the boys for letting us broadcast over there. We really appreciate all the people that watch us on DLN. We're also broadcasting live into YouTube at Villain Squad. Also on YouTube at JC Sports. 2 YouTube options for you. You can check us out. Also, we're on Roku TV, Huddle Sports Network. Check us out on Roku TV as well. Welcome, everyone, to the program. Oh, that's right. We're brought to you by NFLShop.com. That's right, because we are an official marketing partner of NFLShop.com. You can actually use our code. You'll find a link in the comments, or you can scan that QR code and save 25% on any NFL gear. You can even buy a Packers jersey if you want to, and you can still save 25% by leveraging the power of the villain. Welcome to the program, everybody. NFLshop.com. Got to say that one more time. Welcome, everyone, to the program. Before we jump into our topics, we'll say hello to our villains today. Dwayne, Davey in the house as well. Appreciate you. Donkey Kong as well. Ken Fisher. in the house. Maurice, Jordan, some of the usual suspects. I love it. Detroit Fan Man says, it's kind of a bummer we still haven't heard any trade details. Is the Villain Squad hosting a special trade deadline show tomorrow? Such a good question, Detroit Fan Man, but I will tell you that the trade deadline is not until 4 o'clock tomorrow. The Villain Report with Russell Wayne will be at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I expect something might get done tonight, maybe during this show, perhaps after this show, but before 10 a.m. And if so, Russell will have all those details for you at 10 a.m. in the morning. I don't know. The trade deadline is 4 o'clock. A lot of talk about Zadarius Smith coming to the Lions. We're going to talk about that today as well. Roy in the house today. J-Mo just got reinstated.
You like that?
Can we get one more Kirk Cousins for that?
You like that?
That's one Kirk Cousins for J-Mo being reinstated and one Kirk Cousins for Roy calling it out because I did not know that. Thank you, Roy. Let's give you one more there, producer.
You like that?
Ooh, with a remix twist to it. That's for you, Roy. And Dan in the house as well. We need end rusher for sure. Well, that is a good topic that we're going to get to. But before we do that, we're going to talk about yesterday's game, and a big part of the game was the ejection of Brian Branch. It has been the topic of a lot of chatter today all across the internet. I'm sure that you know. And on the Villain Report this morning, we had a lot of people in the comment section asking questions, and frankly, we couldn't answer them. We were not well versed enough on the rule. By the way, neither were the players and coaches when they were asked about it. They had no idea how the rules work, which made me feel a lot better as a quasi-knucklehead journalist that I didn't know about it as well, but I did some investigating. Also, Ian Rappaport issued a statement today that you can head on over to our Lions Villain page, and you can actually see that on Facebook. I posted that to the page, but I have it right here in front of me, and I'm going to read it for you now. This is from the vice president of officiating for the NFL. His name is Perry Fewell, and he was asked by a reporter. Let me get it right here. On the penalty, and this is the reporter's quote, on the penalty on Brian Branch, is that an automatic ejection? Fewell says, not automatic. We received all the angles, and we clearly felt that he had time and space to make a different choice, as the act was a flagrant foul, period. And he clearly had the opportunity to avoid the head and neck area. So for anybody that was on the program this morning, let's be clear about this. We had someone in the comments tell us that targeting was just a college infraction. Not true. The difference is in college, you're automatically ejected if you hit with the crown of the head. In the pros, however, intent is figured into it. And they judged that it was time for Brian Branch. He could have made a different decision not to brain the dude. Okay. But the follow-up question by the reporter then, so is this something that's decided on the field, or is it in concert with the officials in New York, unquote? And the vice president of officiating said it was done in concert. We had a flag on the field, so we had a consultation with the crew on the field as well as us here in New York. So New York got involved and said, yeah, tossing. So it wasn't the officials on the field that said tossing, okay? It was determined. They looked at the replay. They had a consultation with the officials on the field, and they felt it met the threshold for an ejection. I can't say I argue with him. If that would have been a Lions player going the other way, and I know I'm in the minority here. I know I am. But if that had been a Lions receiver that got hit like that, I would probably be screaming, eject him, eject him. So I got no problems with the ejection myself. I know a lot of Lions fans don't agree with that. That's okay. Put it in the comments. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with that ejection? It certainly has been a topic of discussion today all across the internet. Finally, in that interview, the vice president of officiating was asked, the reporter says Brian Branch made what looked like a double middle finger gesture. Oh, did it look like that? Is that what it looked like to you? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. A double flip to the Green Bay faithful at Lambeau on his way out of the tunnel. Did that figure into the decision? Fewell says no. There was not any there was nothing by our on-field officials, so no, nothing was done. The reporter says, then could he be subject to something later? And Fewell said, this could be through compliance, yes. So there's the facts, folks, about it. The double bird flip had nothing to do with the ejection. He was already ejected when he made that gesture on his way out. A lot of people have problems with that as well. A lot of Lions fans today, they don't like it. They think it's childish. They think that we're better than that. We could do better than, we don't need that double, that kind of press. And they didn't like Amon-Ra St. Brown with a hoodie that said Green Bay sucks. I personally loved it. And I have no problem with the double flip either. Last year, those people poured beer on Saint. All right, this is a heated rivalry. This is as big as it gets in the NFL. You're talking Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Detroit, Green Bay. That's as big as it gets. And FTP, St. Brown and Tim Patrick made the T for the FTP for the St. Brown celebration. To this day, folks, I'm sorry. I love everything Joe Horn did. I love everything that Terrell Owens did. This is the all-time greatest celebration to date that has ever been performed in the NFL, in my opinion. I don't care if you disagree with me, because this is, look what they did. They purposely did this to make this graphic for Russell Wayne. They gave us a layup, folks. This is the greatest touchdown celebration of all time, to purposely make a T so you could put FTP with your brother on your podcast later this week. It's awesome. It's classic, and it will live on in Detroit Lions lore forever. At least as long as this page is going, you'll be seeing it once a year. I promise. Put it in the comments. Tell me what you thought about this celebration as well. The Brian Branch hit, the Amon-Ra celebration. I want to hear what your thoughts are. I know we'll back up to the comments here in just a minute, but first I want to introduce my good friend and our producer, the Jefe. Please welcome to the program the producer, Maestro Russell Wayne.
Oh, good Lord, Mike. Oh, it's so fun sitting back there with the keys to the kingdom. It started sounding like you could actually, get a cult of Amon-Ra St. Brown people.
By the power of Ra. The power of Ra.
Oh no, that is classic, man. That is classic trolling right there. And I don't know if we got any trolling going on in our comments right now, but I don't know what anyone could say about this team other than we punked this team. We punked them. That 10-point deficit, we were kind to you in that 10-point deficit. David Montgomery might still be running on that last play if he didn't slide down.
What's your final thought now that you've heard the rules from the vice president of officiating? What's your final thoughts on the Brian Branch hit, as we're going to close the book on this thing hopefully this week?
Okay. So I think that it should be over with. I've came to grips with it because I've watched the play a whole bunch of times, and I agree with what was said in the document, that he did have a chance to do something different, and he chose to go in there and lead with that crown. He got ejected from the game. So I've became okay with them ejecting him from the game for that. He is childish a little bit for the double birds on the way out and all that stuff. I think they should talk to him about that. I think that we got a couple good leaders on our defense, because I know that when Amik Robertson was jawing at somebody, Jack Campbell was the guy to pull him back, and as long as you have those Jack Campbells to offset some of the mouthy guys, I think that you're all right. And I think that we have enough Jack Campbells and Penei Sewells and Taylor Deckers and guys that they look up to, that they can absorb that. But no, I'm okay with it. I hope they don't do any more punishment with it. I hope they don't take him out of more games.
Well, he's already been fined. This $35,000 this year alone. Or no, I'm sorry, that's in his career. Because last year he had the one with Bijan Robinson where he took his helmet right off. And when they asked him about that 15-yard penalty, oh, by the way, he was not ejected in that game for that. Okay, he hit helmet to helmet, knocked his helmet right off, and they didn't eject him for that.
Yeah, that hit was way worse than the one that
But
was.
they did fine
yesterday.
him. They did fine him for that. So it sounds like you've accepted it too. The ejection was good. I just wonder though, Russ, would we be okay with it had we lost the game? Had that ejection turned things to the point where the momentum carried the Packers to a victory? Would we still feel the same way about it?
I'd be crying. No, I'd be crying. I'd be whining and complaining about that. But I do disagree with one of the statements that you had said. How would I feel if that happened to us? Like, I felt I would feel good to get the 15-yard penalty, and I don't think I'd be going ejected. I'd be like, yeah, serves you right, bitch. Yeah, now you got 15 yards, and that's, I think that's what the majority of people would be like. We'd be happy with the 15 yards, and I mean, it really depends, like on the hit. There was a hit in Buffalo where he hit him and you could just see it was helmet, and then you could see his head jerk up like that, where it looked like he broke his neck with the hit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guy I might have ejected, but they didn't eject that guy.
Amon-Ra had one in Arizona this year where it looked like he broke the guy's neck. Brian Branch did. So I'm okay with his aggressiveness. But I'm also okay with that ejection when you look at it. Somebody here, Roy in the comment with a great one here. Branch was a victim of slow motion replay, because when you looked at it in slow motion, it looked, and credit to Bo Melton, he hammed it up there on the ground from it too as well. But I love that call out by Roy, because he did. Looking at it in slow motion, you look at it over and over, and you start to convince yourself, yeah, that's bad enough for an ejection. And it sounds like that's what happened in New York as well. Tim in the house. What's up, Tim? He says he led with his shoulder pads. I don't know. If he'd led with his shoulder pads, they would have hit first. No, he didn't lead with his shoulder pads. He led with his helmet.
Of his helmet. That's why they flagged it.
Exactly. Especially in the 50 times that they looked at it, that probably would have avoided an ejection had he led with his shoulder pads. Dan Nelson with a great comment here says, after reading the regulations, wish he would have just left with some class. And I get that, Dan, but let's face it. There are 31 other stadiums in the league that wouldn't have got a double flip on the way out. There's only one stadium for the Detroit Lions where the crowd's going to get a double flip on the way out. And that's just happened to be the way it played out. That's my opinion. Go ahead.
I mean, but listen, guys, that I want you guys to understand the level of emotion that goes into a rivalry like this. And it's like Brian Branch wasn't the only player on the field that was fired up. They were jawing, they were shoving each other. This is a rivalry game, guys. Like, I think that we get too Mother Teresa, like, oh, I'm just sitting over here all by myself, and Brian Branch came over and hit me in the head. And it's like, no, these guys are looking for all kinds of cheap shots. How about that cheap shot on Jahmyr Gibbs where he tried to take his leg out from underneath of him? It's like, come on, man. Come on. Don't act like Mother Teresa on this. This is a physical game.
I also felt like the Lions wrenched on Jordan Love's leg a little too much on one of them plays too.
Oh yeah.
So for sure,
hopefully he'll be involved in the trade for Zadarius Smith or whoever we get is James Houston, because I don't like that shit. I don't like that at all. I know exactly what play you're talking about, Mike. Yeah.
So what's your final take then on this Amon-Ra St. Brown celebration where they make the T for the FTP? Do you think this is like in the history of touchdown celebrations? This is right up there.
I'm just so glad that Amon-Ra is our wide receiver, because he's so cool. I mean, I don't care if you're a fan of the rival teams or not. You are jealous that you don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, even just from the personality standpoint, just what he brings to the table. Work ethic, you won't find a harder worker in the NFL. So he puts work in. So he puts a little work into clowning too. So go get it, man. I like that stuff. I'm a clown.
Fred Peterson is in the house. What's up, Fred? Tyler, welcome to the program as well. Corey Patterson in the house. Welcome. Some of the villains here kind of agree with us and don't kind of agree with us on the celebration thing. And with the Brian Branch thing. Tyler says, I don't agree with the ejection. I played safety in high school and football speed. It's completely different. You have a complete view from the couch that a player does not. That's a great take. Right. That's a great take. And when you're in New York and part of a committee, you definitely have it.
I don't agree with the ejection either. I said I have made peace with the ejection. I can get on the side of that and like live with it. I get why they did it. But I still don't agree with it. I mean, it's football. I mean, the football is physical.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of stuff in that game, man. There's a whole bunch of dirty little, do you know what happens at the bottom of one of those piles?
Oh, yeah. It gets ugly in the scrum, that's for sure. Corey Patterson in the comments says Jackson Smith and Jigba got hit the same way in Seattle versus Rams, and the ref picked up the flag and the DB stayed in the game. So I think they definitely need to get some clarity on the way they need to have some consistency on the way they call this stuff. That's for sure. But according to the rules, they looked at it over and over, and they felt like he could have avoided that, and he didn't. And that rose to the threshold of getting him ejected. As far as the celebration, Fred says, I love the celebration. I want it on a T-shirt. Davey said it was the best. Detroit Fanman says, Green Bay Sucks is now by far the most popular hoodie in the D, sold out everywhere. If you want one.
To the point. Yeah, that's to the point. I mean, Green Bay sucks.
Right. If you want one, we can make one for you custom, actually, at our villain store. Head on over to our page and look at one of our ads for our store, and we will custom make you one. And they're affordable and quality stuff too. Steve says Branch is a great player to play like that. Just being honest, yeah, to play, and that's a Packer fan, folks, saying that, giving us a compliment. And you know who else is a badass? Jaden Reed for the Green Bay Packers. These two players will forever be linked. On draft day, we swapped picks with Green Bay. We took Brian Branch and they took Jaden Reed. Both turned out to be great players for their teams. You can't be mad on either side. We like to tease the Packers and all, but they got a great player with that pick in Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, by the way, killed us yesterday. 5 catches for 113 yards. So great call out there by Steve. Jordan says, I wouldn't want to hear the asterisk later if our opponent lost after their best DB was ejected. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And another thing is, it seemed clear that Brian Branch thought that the man had already dropped the ball. Like he had already dropped the pass because he saw Branch coming, and that allowed for a split second where Branch didn't have to blast him in the head. That's just how I see it.
They just didn't have to eject them, Mike. That's my problem with it, and it's just like, respect the rivalry. If the refs have a chance to get out of the game, they should. These guys play a nice, big, tough, rough, rugged, in the rain, physical game, and that's what it was. It was just a battle. Right. And it's like, oh, no, that's a little bit too rough on the battle. It's like, no, let them battle it out. Let them fight it out. And I know that competitors want that, too. I know that there was somebody that was on that Green Bay bench that was going, oh, shit, man. I wanted to play Brian Brandt. I want the best out there. I'm here because I want to play the best. And you just kicked him out of the game. I bet you there was somebody on Green Bay's side for the spirit of competition that said that, I want to beat you at the best because I can, I mean, and they all believe it.
I love it. Dan agrees with me on the celebration. It was the best ever. He didn't even see it till this morning. And that is the best ever touchdown celebration until somebody can do better. And I'll tell you something, Ken Fisher, this is like the best comment of the day. Can I get a Kirk Cousins for Ken Fisher on this one here? Because this is actually something I was thinking about today. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the opponent's version of a Bill Lane deer. When he's playing, his opponents hate him, but they also wish he was on their team. 100%. 100%. And I can see so many parables between this team and that Bad Boys Pistons team. The Pistons were also accused of embarrassing opponents and running up the score on opponents, by the way. The Detroit Lions are second in the league, most penalized team in the league, second in the league in penalties. Just like the Pistons were the most penalized team in the league. I mean, there are a lot of parables here, and they hate our players. Our players are hated individually as we're hated collectively, a lot like the Bad Boys were. So I love the parables between the Bad Boys and this team. Evan Williams says he can't wait to meet Amon-Ra St. Brown because I don't think Evan Williams was able to play in the game last week, or yesterday, I should say. The rookie from Oregon, who Russ and I were looking at, man, we'd love to get this guy into our secondary, and he ends up going to the Packers. And he has worked his way into the starting lineup in Green Bay, and it's a disappointment, like you were saying, Russ, that we didn't get to see Evan Williams in the game yesterday.
That's why I say boo frickin' who. It's a disappointment that you didn't get to see Aiden Hutchinson or Davenport or Pascal or Derek Barnes, or like cry me a river. Stop making excuses.
Derek, in regards to the Brian Branch hit, says there's no injury involved. They should have gave him a penalty and moved on. I like that call. I mean, right? The guy wasn't hurt, but I think that isn't the point, right? The point is to set a precedent for all of the other players to be able to set some sort of standard, because Lord knows they're all over the map with it. So if they can get some sort of baseline, I'm all for it. And I don't think an injury is something that plays into that. Right on. All right, so that's about half of our show, talking about that glorious win by the Detroit Lions in Lambeau Field. Final score 24-14. Lions win by 10. I actually picked the Packers and the points on our pick. You can join us at 10 a.m. on Thursday mornings. We do our prediction Thursday with our lock picks with Russell Wayne and I on the Villain Report at 10 a.m. This week, Russell and I both picked 8 out of 6, or 8 and 6. So we went 8 out of 14. And there is a game tonight. And this is what I want to hear from you guys as well in the comments. It's Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Kansas City Chiefs. The line has moved from 8.5 to 9. So Russell Wayne, we're going to kick it over to you first, but I want to hear from everyone in the comments. I want to hear your prediction. Do you like KC -9 at home against the Bucs?
No, I like the Bucs and give me the points. Give me the
Tell me why.
Bucs and the Bucs.
Tell me why. With no Chris Godwin, with no Mike Evans, why on the road? Why would you take the Baker Mayfields against the two-time defending champions?
I don't know. It's just the 9 points. The 9 points.
That's a lot in the NFL.
It's a lot in the NFL, and it's like, whenever you give me so many points that it's a 2-score game, like you're giving me that many points, all I have to do is have a team that plays within that framework, and they can still lose the game by 8 points, they can still lose the game and really in kind of like blowout fashion, you could score a touchdown late that, that doesn't matter. Oh, all of a sudden you're only down by 6. It's like, those are dangerous bets, but enter at your own risk. That they're also, big point spreads for a reason. I mean, like
okay,
you said,
well, you were 8 and 6. I was 8 and 6. I've never beat you before. You're rolling with Tampa Bay. I'm rolling with Kansas City and laying the 9 points. So this is going to be it. If I can cover these 9 points, I can get my first victory against the Swami. Yeah. I'm rooting. And I'll tell you, I like my chances, and I'll tell you why. Because DeAndre Hopkins last week got his feet wet with the Kansas City Chiefs. He caught a pass, and now he's had a full week of work with Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be the answer that they need. Travis Kelce is finally going to get going. Look, folks, I would not have drafted Travis Kelce to my fantasy team had I known he was already a game show host. Okay? I didn't know he was already a game show host.
Betting
And
with
they've
your
been
fantasy heart, are you?
stinking it up. Hey, look at this big trophy I got to defend here. It's not looking good for me. And I do have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce under center tonight. So I'm hoping for a win. I'm taking Kansas City in the points. Tell me what you think. I want to see it in the comments, what you think. You're watching the Main Event Football Show on the Villain Squad Network. Be sure to hit the like button. I can see there are more people watching than have hit an emoji. Just hit an emoji. If you don't know, I'll tell you. It helps us out. You don't have to give us any money or anything. Just hit the like button. That's all you got to do. And you help us out and allows us to continue to keep doing this. And we appreciate it very, very much.
Besides, we are the UDFA of sports podcasting.
That's
we
right.
are Tom Kennedy. We're the Tom Kennedy
That's right.
of sports podcasting.
That's right. You can break our back. You can send us to the practice squad, and we will still come back because no one will outgrind us.
We may not be very good at what we do, but we're gonna keep trying. We may not be the best. We may not even be the second best. But I mean, we might be able to fight for third best.
Well, one thing is for sure. We have one of the top 5. We have one of the top 5 Facebook groups on all of the internet. It's called Lions Main Event. And this is where you can put your opinions out. You can put your own post up. We have some great folks that manage the page for us. They keep all the spam out. Nobody trying to sell you anything in there. It's called Lions Main Event. Please go join the group and let your voice be heard. And there it is. Russell. We just put it in the comments there. You can click the link. It'll take you right to the group. So there we go. Our predictions are in. Russ is taking the Bucks. I'm taking the Chiefs -9. Want to hear what you guys think. I got a few other things I want to talk about. This is a once-a-week show. So we look back at this Packers victory. We look at tonight's Monday night game. That's great. But we also look ahead to the next game on the schedule. Kind of the first look of the week. Everybody's still basking in the glow of the Green Bay win. We have to shift our focus here at the Main Event and look ahead to the Houston Texans, which are the next team on the Lions' schedule. Lions will travel to Houston next Sunday. The kickoff is 8:20 p.m. It's on Sunday Night Football, which I believe is on Peacock, if I'm not mistaken. The Houston Texans are 6-3, and they are right in the thick of the division race there in the AFC South. So far, they have lost to Green Bay and Minnesota, but they've beaten the Bears. So this will be the final game against the NFC North, the toughest division in football, hands down. And they're looking to split against the NFC North. 6-3 is their total record. 2 of the games they've lost already are to our division. They beat the Bears.
The Bears.
Lions riding high, setting historic numbers, the most talked about team in the NFL, going to travel to Houston. And look, this is one that a lot of you said on this very program. You told me this was going to be an L at the beginning of the season. We all agreed you can't win them all. Got to be 3 or 4 of them in there we're going to lose. If you picked them to go 14-3 or 13-4 or 12-5, whatever you predicted the Lions to be, there were a lot of you that picked this Texans game as an L. And I might add, the schedule came out in May. Stephon Diggs did not join the team until after that, and you already had it at an L. So don't give me that Stephon Diggs out changes it for you stuff. I want to know, is it the way the Lions are playing? If you are now changing your mind from this being an L, that's my take. I had this as an L. The way Houston played last year, the way C.J. Stroud took this league by storm as Offensive Rookie of the Year, the job D'Amico Ryans did as head coach, he was cheated out of the Coach of the Year, in my opinion. Dan Campbell or D'Amico Ryans should have got Coach of the Year, not Kevin Stefanski for his second time. For what? Because he played 5 quarterbacks and made the playoffs? Woohoo! How about turning a whole franchise around? They had the number one defense in the league for multiple years. That was terrible. It was a total injustice. D'Amico Ryans didn't get the coach of the year. This Houston Texas team is tough. Nico Collins expected to possibly, he's going to be questionable for the game. But even if he doesn't come, they have a talented tight end in Dalton Schultz. They have a potent running game with Joe Mixon and a really good, probably the best wide receiver 3 in the whole league in Tank Dell, who's all of a sudden looks like a 1. When 1 or 2 are out, this guy steps right up and looks like a bona fide 1. They haven't been playing great as of late. And Brian Flores really got to C.J. Stroud with his blitz packages, keeping him on his toes, getting him off his spot. That's something that I think Aaron Glenn is going to have to do. But what we've seen from this Lions team the last couple of games, it's going to be really tough to get a pass rush on C.J. Stroud. Jordan Love had lots of time yesterday. He had all kinds of time. Our secondary did a great job of holding up, just like we did in the game before. But we're not getting a pass rush. Detroit Lions yesterday, only 5 QB hits and 0 sacks. That's not going to get it done against a good team like the Houston Texans. You're going to need to get pressure. And if you can't, C.J. Stroud might just pick you apart. And he can beat you with your legs. We know what the Lions suffer against running quarterbacks. Right now, the spread is Detroit -4. So the Lions are still favored. After I talk up the Texans like that, Lions are still favored by 4 points on the road. That's how strong this Lions team is, and everybody knows it, including Las Vegas. Put in the comments. I want you to tell me what you think is going to happen in this Houston game. It's an 8:20 kickoff on Sunday Night Football. Russell, what do you think? I think you were actually one of those who picked this as a loss at the beginning of the season.
I did. I just think the Lions are playing too good. And the answer to your pass rushing problem might not be on the team yet, but I do believe that they are gonna make a move. But you said something right there about how Brian Flores was able to get to him with that exotic blitzing, and it seems like that copycat league, right? Soon as Brian Flores throws in that blueprint, all of a sudden teams start doing that. And I do believe that it's going to be the same thing with Aaron Glenn, only Aaron Glenn's going to have a new piece, or maybe even 2 pieces to add into that mix that they haven't seen in our defense. So I think that there's a good chance that we can go down to Houston and really take that team by surprise. And I mean, really start beating some teams down, because I don't know if that team's better than Green Bay Packers. I mean, are we underselling the Packers? Are we underselling Minnesota? 2 out of 3 of these games that we just won. Like, I think that we just think that this next team, we did fine. We did not get sacks, but I am going to give you a little a PFF preview right here. The Lions did have 16 hurries in this game. And when I was looking at it with my eyes, I was like, I know that I'm going to see some things that I like when I look at the deeper stats in this game. And I like seeing the hurries, and they're all over the place, Mike. Just like I said, you got 6 from McNeil. James Houston had 4 hurries. Trevor Nowaski had 2 hurries. Ben Neiman had a hurry. Levi Onwuzurike had a hurry. Pat O'Connor had a hurry. Muhammad had a hurry. All one. Guy from here, guy from there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's not ever going to be like with Aiden Hutchinson, even with an upgrade. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be like that. But they're doing a pretty good job at doing different things, getting the quarterback off his spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you think the Lions are still going to get an L here? Are you going to reverse your call?
I am going to reverse my call. I think that they can, that they're going to win this game. They're favored to win this game.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I also am going to reverse my call. I didn't realize that Jared Goff was going to take his game to another level. And that's why I am going to change my pick. And I think the Lions are going to win this. And we'll go over it extensively on Thursday when we do our predictions on the Villain Report at 10 a.m. On this very network. We'll go over it ad nauseum, I'm sure. But The reason that I'm taking them to win is because of our incredible quarterback. And I want to shift gears here now and talk about one, Jared Thomas, Michael Arthur, Michael W. Smith, Axl Rose Goff. Jared Goff, folks, over the last 6 games, 83% completion percentage. That's not one game. Jaden Daniels had like a 2 or 3 game stretch this year where he was over 80%. Oh, no. This is 6 straight games with an average of 83%. He's taken it to another level, folks. He is locked in. He said in a couple of interviews already this week, I'm just playing disciplined football. I like to think of playing disciplined football. Yeah, you are. It was a torrential rainstorm at one point yesterday. Jared Goff was 11 for 11 in a rainstorm. Oh, and by the way, it's not just West Coast offense dinking and dunking out of the backfield. Oh, no. His average depth of target's over 12 yards for the year. He is killing it, folks. Jared Goff, a guy who they said, his passer rating against the rain in his career, because he's a California kid, and they say that he sucks in the rain. Oh, just put him outside in the rain. He can't play. Because he had a career passer rating of 76.7. Career passer rating in precipitation. At one point, he was 11 for 11 yesterday. He finishes with a 109.3 passer rating yesterday in a torrential rainstorm. The 6-game stretch that he's going through right now with an 83% has never been done in history. It's never even been close, actually. The nearest 6-game stretch is like 71%. He's at 83%. It's historic. I don't care who you are, Jalen Hurts, I don't care who you are. That's all pro. There's no way, if he continues on anything even close to this trajectory, we are going to have an all-pro quarterback in Detroit at the end of the year. 26 touchdowns and only 24 incompletions over the last 6 games. 2 more touchdowns than they have incomplete passes. I'd like to say that's never been done before, but it actually has been done before. Way back, like 1934, I believe it was. And this team that Jared Goff is playing on, if you want to knock the defense and say there's no pass rush, you can. But they are top 5 in total defense. And they are top 5 in total offense. The only team in the league this year that's top 5 offense and top 5 defense. And Jared Goff this year has thrown for 1,840 yards at the halfway mark. He's on pace to have just a little bit bigger of a game in one of the games, and he will hit 4,000 yards for the season quietly. With games like 12 for 15. His stats are 12 for 15, 15 for 18. Kind of pedestrian because we have such a great running game. We have such a great offensive line. You can say all that stuff that you want, but you're not going to finish the year 80-some%. Your team's the number 1 seed in the NFC, and you don't make the All-Pro Pro Bowl as an All-Pro. That's what's going to happen if he continues this way. So we got the quarterback. We don't have the pass rush. You got anything to say about this quarterback rush before we move on?
Well, I mean, more like a question. I mean, the question is, like, if they keep going this way, I mean, I heard something stupid like a 16-point differential now. Like, we're whooping teams, and there's only a couple of teams have been able to sustain that, and that's like the 2007 New England Patriots, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, like the 85 Bears. Like they just went and they beat the shit out of teams in the regular season. And is the Lions one of these teams? Is this magic that Goff is? I mean, is this just a well-oiled machine and you can just count on it, or are they going to come back down to earth at some point in time? And that's a question I'm going to throw out to the people. Throw that into the comments. Answer that question. Is this Goff magic sustainable, Mike?
I think if he continues to play disciplined football, I don't see why not. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown are 30 for 30 on their last attempts. 30 for 30. It's absurd. Okay? That's absurd. And I mean, why not? Why couldn't he sustain this? It's not like he's out there doing Patrick Mahomes stuff. He's just dropping back and finding the open guy and hitting him, throwing him an accurate ball. Everybody has a bad game. So, no, I don't think it's sustainable over too long of a period. I mean, but even if he has a bad game, I think everything is in place for him to continue this kind of elevated play for the next 5 years. Why not? Such a good question, though, Russ.
Right here. I mean, when you look at David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs on this, and you're averaging 4.3 yards a carry, 5.9 yards a carry. That's why I believe 100% that it's sustainable. I think the Lions are going to beat the shit out of teams. I mean, we didn't even have to call any really, there was no creativity in the play. They didn't show it. They didn't bring anything out that playbook. They beat him with just straight smash mouth stuff.
And Ken Fisher makes that point. The only play yesterday with a significant loss was a 12-yard loss to Khalif Raymond, which was actually just a regular old pedestrian reverse.
Right.
We don't know what was going to come on the back end of that reverse because the play got blown up before it got to see the end. But maybe it would have been another reverse with a throw and Penei Sewell. Who knows what that was going to be. But that's a great call out. And for some reason, I can't find the comment. Okay, there it is. I can pull it off. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good smash mouth game where, really, they just lined up, run the ball off tackle, and they were getting 5 yards in chunks, Mike. Get 10 yards every once in a while. I mean, they did stuff every once in a while. They'd stuff the run, but for the most part, it was just, 5, 6 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards. Second and 1, second 3, it's like when you're in that situation, I mean, what are you going to do to Goff? I mean, the dude's got playmakers all over the place. He knows exactly where they're all going to be at all times. He sees what you're going to do in the defense. The minute that you blitz somebody, it's like, oh, that guy. Oh, I'll just throw it to the wide open guy. All right. And he's accurate. That's why, he doesn't mind throwing it to, a Brock Wright or a Khalif Raymond or, the backup water boy. If you're open, you're where you're supposed to be. Goff will hit you.
Yep.
Well, 9 receivers. What are you gonna do?
And I'm gonna let Jeffrey Addison finish my sentence here. We are also 7-1. And we will only get better as injured players return and possibly trade for edge help. This team is one for the record books. What a great call out. I mean, I don't care what happens. I don't care. I would love to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, I think we have the team to do it. But you know what? Even if we don't, this is the most memorable time in my life to be a Detroit Lions fan, and I'll always remember it. I'll never forget how incredible that win was yesterday. Or last year when we won there and they dumped beer on Saint and he blew them all a kiss. And then this year, Brian Branch throws him a double kiss. I'll never forget this time in Lions history. And what a great time it is to be here with all of you. We really appreciate all of you watching today. All of you who are putting it in the comments. If you're watching this on the recorded version on our feed or on YouTube on a recorded version, we appreciate you as well. Please click the like emoji or the heart emoji or some kind of emoji. Well, hopefully by this time next week, the Lions will have edge rush help. Lots of rumors out there that Brad Holmes is close to a deal for Zadarius Smith from the Cleveland Browns. Also, that Brad Holmes has inquired. This was reported by Woodward Sports that Brad Holmes has inquired about Max Crosby. So who knows? I just want to remind you that a month ago they said they weren't going to trade Devontae Adams also. And they did. For nothing. He was just so disgruntled. And now after another loss, Max Crosby is disgruntled. Go ahead.
That's it right there. You why not? Like the thing is it's a business, guys. Like, I'm never going to trade Max Crosby. Okay. Never. Okay. Well, now he's pissed off and doesn't want to be there no more.
Mm-hmm. Jordan says getting to 7-1 by midseason allows for an off game or two without falling too far off course. Great call. Lose a couple more games, you're still 14-3. So
That's
great. And Jeffrey says, you think we're good this
Wanna
year?
fight a
Just
new
wait until
step off?
next year. Right. Add some more Brad Holmes draft picks to this mix. See what happens.
Yeah, especially if they don't trade. Like, could you? I mean, if you get somebody like Crosby, that means that we're not going to have first round picks for a while. But then you'd have Max Crosby. But I really am starting to get comfortable with the fact that it probably is going to be somebody like Zadarius Smith and maybe Chase Young on the other side. They may go. I mean, just getting two like lower tier guys that Brad Holmes might like for the future, that like, oh, we're going to give him a shot. I just,
He's also been tied to New York Giants edge rusher Azeez Ojulari, who's a former second round pick, has 6 sacks already this year. That's a player I would love to see. If we brought in 2 guys, if you bring in Zadarius Smith and Ojulari, I think you've done enough, Brad Holmes, to give your team a legit chance. Or even Chase Young. I don't like Chase Young. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his injury-prone attitude, and I really don't like the college he went to. But that's neither here nor there. We are running out of time, maybe about 7 more minutes. I got a couple more things I want to get to here. One, Jake Bates with his 27-yard field goal yesterday is now 12 for 12 on the year. The Jake Bates streak continues. I can't wait to see it. How far it goes. Jack Fox, because I was not a Jake Bates believer, but Jack Fox, a 60-yard bomb yesterday. He continues to flip the field for this team and make it hard for teams to drive all the way down. What we're seeing in the last 3 games is teams getting the chunk of their yardage between the 20s, and they run out of gas when they get to the end zone. Our defense has bent, but not broken, not giving up explosives. What is it Dan Campbell always says? Pursuit and tackle. And we're seeing that.
Bite a kneecap off.
Right. We're seeing that. And Jack Fox is helping that endeavor by being a weapon. He currently ranks 2nd in the NFL in average punt and net average for a punter, which means, and the other guy who's ahead of him is in the AFC, I believe, for the Raiders. So we're looking at all pro punter as well. At least the Pro Bowl for Jack Fox, if he continues the way he is. Oh, while we're on the subject of Pro Bowl, can we talk about this guy named Kirby Joseph for a minute? An absolute sniper. That pick 6 yesterday was awesome. And the funniest part, he didn't know how to act. If you go over and look at our Facebook page, I put a video up of him in his celebration. He just kind of jumping up. It's kind of a visual, Russ. Show me jumping up and down here. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll stop jumping. Now, okay, there we are. Kirby Joseph jumping up and down because he didn't know what to do. And when he's watching the video, he's laughing at himself because he didn't have any pre-planned celebration. He just kind of like, what do I do with my hands? He didn't know what to do. It was awesome. Kirby Joseph now leads the NFL in interceptions with 6, tied with Xavier McKinney from the Packers. You're not going to be able. He's also 2nd on the team in tackles, folks, behind the middle linebacker. So, 3rd in tackles. And he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. If he makes it to the Pro Bowl or Jack Campbell makes it to the Pro Bowl, the amount of Pro Bowl players that Brad Holmes has drafted is ludicrous. Historic. Never been done before. In a 3-year stretch, he's drafted Sewell, Amon-Ra, Laporta, all Pro Bowlers. It's just ridiculous. If now Brian Branch, turning into one of the best secondary players in the league, could make a Pro Bowl, Kirby Joseph could make a Pro Bowl. If he hits this year, Jack Campbell led the team in tackles yesterday with 13 tackles, playing lights out. We're looking at the best 3-year stretch any general manager has ever had since they wore leather helmets. Okay? Since the GM has been a thing. This is the best stretch anyone's ever had And what Brad Holmes has done with the Lions is nothing short of a miracle. Turning around a franchise, turning around a culture. It is absolutely awesome to watch. Two more things on my list here. At the beginning of the year, Russ and I, we asked you and we asked each other to make bold predictions. I made two bold predictions. One was that the Lions would sweep the Packers this year. And I said that the Saints would fire Dennis Allen by midseason. Yesterday, the Saints fired Dennis Allen, and the Lions beat the Packers for the first time. So one more victory in September, and both of my bold predictions will come true. I love that. Dennis Allen, the sacrificial lamb, because they brought in a bum of a quarterback in Derek Carr, and now he's going to have to pay the price for it. But I think he did it to himself because he's the one that pined for Derek Carr. So there you go. And then the last thing on my list before that funky music starts playing. On the top of my notes today, it says revenge. That's right, revenge. Last year, the Detroit Lions lost 5 games in the regular season, but they actually played 20 games if you count the playoffs, and they lost a 6th game in the NFC title game. So they lost to 6 teams. And the schedule makers for the NFL this year put 5 of those teams on the regular season schedule for the Detroit Lions. We've been talking about this since May when the schedule came out, the potential revenge games. Every team the Lions lost to last year, except the Ravens, were on the schedule this year. So far, they played 4 of those games, and they are 4-0. The last revenge game will be against the Chicago Bears. The next revenge game will be against the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving, and that's week 4. That's the 4th week from now. After that, they'll play week 15 in San Francisco for the final revenge game. If they can go 6-0 and avenge every loss from last year, that is a goal of this team. You know it is. Jared Goff has alluded to it in interviews that they have a hit list of their own. When he was asked about what it's like to be the hunter instead of the hunted, he says, well, we've got a hit list of our own. We got teams we want revenge on. Well, so far, so good, Mr. Goff. 4-0 against those teams, avenging your losses. Jeffrey Addison puts it in the comment right here. Thanksgiving revenge. Vengeance. I love that call. So next 4 teams for the Lions: at Houston, at home versus Jacksonville, at Indianapolis, at home versus Chicago on Thanksgiving. I think we can run the table and go 4-0 in those. I don't see any of those teams with the firepower to beat us, except maybe Houston in their own building. They can run the ball. They have a good offensive defensive line. They might be able to hang with us. So Houston, Jacksonville, Indy, and Chicago. Russ, what do you think? 2 at home, 2 on the road. What's our record after those 4 games?
I can't see anybody beating us right now. I mean, somebody has to beat us in order for me to believe that it can be done, because we've been punking people out when it comes to this, and we're doing it with a good offensive line, just in the simple ways. It's not like we're going crazy on these people. You get to score 52 points and we got doubled on the offense by Tennessee too. It's like we're beating people in different ways. And when it comes down to it, I'll take Penei Sewell in the 4th quarter running downhill on you against any team, anytime, anywhere. So yeah, I say 4-0.
I love it.
I say 4-0 on that.
So that'll put us at 11-1 and in firm control.
Where's the loss? Maybe here in Houston. I mean, but minus Nico Collins.
And of course, we're saying barring injury, right? Barring injury, anybody could suffer a major injury. I mean, losing Hutch was about as big as it gets, and we're still rolling. But if you get another one, especially on the other side of the ball, that could be devastating for this team. But barring injury, when you look at these next 4 games, Houston's the toughie. These other 3 teams, we should be able to overpower, no problem.
Yeah, we might get Kaminsky back by Thanksgiving. We might get we're gonna get Ifeatu Melifonwu back. We're gonna get Broderick Martin back. So we're gonna bring some people back on this team. Right. Yeah, there it is. So it feels good. If it's a good time to be a Lions fan right now. I don't
Absolutely.
think they're going to falter. You know, when what we were talking about a little bit earlier with that is, are they gonna falter? They're too focused. They're coached too well. They won't let it happen. Like, they're gonna be super focused and find some reason to win every game. You know, as you know, we're focusing on this week. They're masters of that.
Yep. That Monday Night Football game is about to come on here soon. We appreciate everyone watching. You've been watching the Main Event Football Show. Glad to see GREGG in the house today. Got some other comments that I didn't get to today. I apologize. I did take notes and get your names. I promise to get you in next time. Thanks, everyone, for watching on the recorded version. If you're watching live, we appreciate all of you. On your way out today, please click the like button. On your way out, it really helps us. For Russell Wayne and all of us here at the Villain Squad, me and all the voices in my head, I'm Main Event Mike, saying God bless each and every one of you. One pride.
Your team feeds them. First and goal. Montgomery breaks a tackle, turning for the end zone, and a Lions touchdown. On first down, Jahmyr Gibbs with an opening, and Gibbs with great speed.